A tourist wandered into a curio shop in a small country town, and after walking around the store for some moments, the tourist went over to the proprietor and asked, "What is the most unique and mysterious thing in your store?" And the storekeeper looked around and saw the shrunken head hanging from its hair in the corner, saw the ancient bound book of Celtic lore, saw the stuffed black cat and the woven prayer shawl from long ago. And then, answering the tourist, he said, "By far, the most exotic and mysterious thing in this store is myself." Then there was an old man who was dying in hospital, and his only son, who was on duty in a far distant land, was called back to be by his side. But when the soldier arrived at the old man's side, he found that it was not his father. So he realized a great mistake had been made, and the son of this old man was still in a far-flung place, serving his country. But the soldier thought for a moment, and then he asked the doctor, "How long does the old man have?" The doctor said, "But a few hours." So with resolution, the soldier went over to the bedside of the old man and took his hand and said, "Dad, Dad, it's me. I've come to be with you." And the old dying man looked up with his unseeing eyes and looked around with a great smile on his face and passed away. And then there was a drunken man staggering down the road after a night of binging at the tavern, when he happened to fall into the sewerage ditch at the side of the road. So he called out, "Fire! Fire! Fire!" And people came running from everywhere to save him. And when they pulled him out, someone asked him, "Why did you call out fire when there was no fire?" And he said, "Well, would you have come if I shouted shit?" Then there's that old story about the great Sufi teacher who had many, many followers, one of them being a rather rich merchant who traveled the world and was invited to the nobles' places because of his illustrious trading abilities and so forth. And one day he had to go on a journey to a far-flung place. And when he was there, he was invited to a reception by the grandees of that city, the nobility and the like. But when he arrived at the reception hall, to his very, very great surprise and shock, when he looked and he saw a group of the grandees standing around a man with dreadlocks and beads around his neck and amulets around his waist and exotic garments. and it was his master, his Sufi master, and he was shocked and rather horrified because all the grandees, nobility, were standing around mesmerized by this being in his regalia. So when the decks had cleared a little bit and there was a space for him to enter, the merchant went over to his master and whispered in his ear, "Master, Master, what are you doing? You have always taught us to shun all kinds of displays and rituals and the like, and look at you." And his master responded, "It is because so perhaps in endeavoring to finish this, what it was that the master replied to his student, we can look at ourselves and begin to know why it is that we have believed that we have been able to hide our light under a bushel, to keep our real self hidden behind the facades of garb and appearances. Do we really think that we have been able to hide our real self from plain sight? Why? Why has there been a need for the displays, the ego facades? Could it really be that we ourselves are the mysteries hidden in plain sight? Not only for those who have the eyes to see and the ears to hear, as the saying goes, but can we really believe now that our facades, our attempts at covering even to ourselves who and what we really are? No, 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 no. Dare you look into the mirror, into your own eyes, and recognize that your real self has been on display, plain for everyone to see before your very eyes? Could it be that we are the mystery hidden in plain